All right, waiting for Godot. Frustrating play, for sure. I'm just going to dive straight in and get into our protagonist. Okay, our protagonist of the story is Vladimir. Okay, Vladimir is, if we're taking this into a straight personal point of view, which I think Samuel Becket wants us to do as the audience, Vladimir is us. Vladimir is how we see the world, our confusion, our frustration, every aspect. And he is the guiding character of the play, as it's kind of, he's the brains behind the operation of Vladimir and Estragon. And simply put, it's his world that we are living in, and he's a representation of us. The antagonist. Okay, the antagonist is, from my viewpoint, it's complex. I would say every other character in the play outside of Vladimir, our protagonist, is a representation of the antagonist. I would use the analogy of the brain and call every other character a part of Vladimir's brain. You have the parts of stupidity and, let's just say, short-term memory in Estragon. We have the arrogance of, who we are or who Vladimir is through Pozzo. We have our intelligence, and I put it in quotes as an idiom, because that's what Lucky represents. When we get Lucky's monologue in Act 1, we get just this all over the place where sometimes there's something of value in the monologue, and then sometimes it's just mumbo jumbo, but it's our perceived intelligence. And then you have the representation of the boy, who comes as a representative for Godot, and that boy represents a glimmer of hope for Vladimir. And so all four of those parts are sort of working against our protagonist, Estragon, Lucky, Pozzo, and the boy, because all four lead to just confusing Vladimir and his pursuit of meaning in a meaningless world, according to Beckett. Because Vladimir continuously has moments where he's like, well, maybe there's something here, but just can never find that conclusion. The main conflict, the main conflict happens to our protagonist, Vladimir, and it's Vladimir's just pursuit of meaning. And he continuously, every act, starts his day the same, and then it ends the same. We pretty much get the entire play wrapped up in the quote, in the citation, like right at the start of the play, when Vladimir says, "I'm beginning to come around to that opinion. All my life I've tried to put it from me, saying, 'Vladimir, be reasonable. You haven't yet tried everything.' And I resume the struggle." So there you are again. So this quote here from Vladimir is in response to Estragon's statement of nothing to be done. And this is where we get Vladimir essentially giving a summation of the play with trying to find meaning in a meaningless world. And this is why this is classified as an absurdist play. And it's the main conflict of Waiting for Godot, is just that, Vladimir trying to find meaning. The resolution. Okay, so the resolution is what makes this play, Waiting for Godot, so frustrating. We basically get the resolution to Vladimir's problem of trying to find meaning at the end of Act 1, when Estragon asks Vladimir in the last two lines, "Well, shall we go?" And then Vladimir responds with, "Yeah, let's go." But neither of them move. That is the same exact callback line that happens in Act 2. It's the same exact ending from Act 1. So you get into the idea, well, what was the point of having two acts if you were just going to give the same resolution in both spots, where Vladimir, our protagonist, is unable to figure out what to do. He's stuck. Vladimir can't figure out whether to go or to stay. And that's the resolution of the play, is Samuel Becket really trying to highlight this idea that it really doesn't matter if you go or if you stay, it's all irrelevant and it's absurd. And so that's the main resolution to this absurdist play. So this leads us all to our theme. We have our main conflict, which is Vladimir's battle with trying to find meaning in life. Then we turn to our resolution, how that's resolved, where he doesn't really find any meaning. It's unresolved. And then that leads us to our theme, which is the depressing, the utter meaningless of life, the absurdist philosophy. That no matter how hard, if we take it personal into a first-person point of view, which Samuel Becket wants his audience to do, no matter how hard we try to find meaning, it just doesn't exist. And it's dark. It's not the happiest of plays. Obviously, it leaves you frustrated, annoyed, all the aspects that our protagonist Vladimir goes through, because we are a representation of Vladimir as the audience. He is represented in the play through. He represents us through the play, and I know you could ask the question, well, why did we read this then? And the reason I would say to read this play, Waiting for Godot, and why we did read this is because it's a different perspective on life, and there's a lot of people that we're going to deal with that have this viewpoint of just the utter meaningless of life. And so to understand where that perspective comes from, obviously this movement came out of World War II with the existentialist movement, a little bit of an add-on to it with Samuel Beckett, and then with Albert Camus and The Stranger, and some other works, even more recent works into the Wild. But it's a common theme for a lot of literature, is this no point, meaningless life. So it's something worthwhile to look at. All right, see you guys later.